Hi guys, it's Irene with BrainStorm Acres, and today I am going to plant ground cherries. Now, I admit, up until I would say about a year ago, I had never heard of ground cherries, maybe a little bit longer than that. Anyway, I was watching Spring Hill Farms up in Canada, and they were planting ground cherries. And one of the things we've been looking for our property here is something that we can get quick turnaround on and have some sort of fruit. Now, ground cherries are actually, or husk cherries, are actually in the tomato family. They are similar to a tomatillo in the fact that they have this papery husk on the outside and the fruit itself is contained inside. They come in slightly different colors depending on which variety you get. And I have now run across a bunch of people who say they're super yummy. They make great eating out of hand, and they also are good for jams and jellies and things like that. We do have wild husk cherries here, and I have found them before. Originally I found them probably 8 years ago maybe, and then they sort of disappeared, but we found them again last year. Actually, in the greenhouse there's one section over in the corner where I need to cover it with better ground cloth to keep the critters out, and critters in this case being weeds, and they're growing over there right now. Anyway, the end of this bed earlier this season was not Gumfrena, it was Nigella, which is Love in a Mist, and it was self-seeded, and I didn't really want it here, and I got a really nice harvest of dried stems off of it, which I need to take in the house. They're out and drying in the sun right now. But I decided that it's a shame to let this go to waste, so I am going to plant husk cherries here. And it's an experiment for us again this year. We have tried raspberries and blackberries before here, and they didn't make it. According to the county extension agent, it's really hard to grow raspberries here. I don't currently know anybody who's growing raspberries or blackberries up here, so we'll see. We decided we'd try these. They're an annual. They do self-seed according to some people, but those people are also living in a wetter environment. So what I need to do is I need to dig up this area here and then just plant them. They're just a seed like every other seed, and ideally I would have started these early. I did not. I somehow missed that point. But since other people have had luck with them self-seeding, I just decided I would give it a shot. Worst thing, it's a fail. You know, my concern is keeping them moist enough while they are trying to germinate. But what I'm going to do is I'll dig this up well here to get everything out. Probably gonna have to water it because it's a little hard. Not too bad. But I need to dig through all this and get all the last of the Love in a Mist out and any other random weeds, because there's a random weed right there. And then I will be adding a bunch of compost to it, and we'll see what happens. I'm really looking forward to it. It'll be quite a while before we get a result on it, but that's okay. We've tried blueberries before and failed. We've tried blackberries and raspberries and failed. I want to try gooseberries. They do sell them at one of the nurseries down in Prescott. They look like they have the potential to do well here, but we need to have the beds prepared before we buy the plants, otherwise the chance of success is small. So let me get this all cleaned up, and we'll see. Now, if you can peek down here, you'll see we have peppers and we have tomatoes in there. And some basil too. And so this is going to be the end of my tomato, pepper, basil bed. So let's get to it. Now, I basically just stirred this up. Jack is looking for a lizard, in case you're wondering why you're seeing a lot of puppy butt over here. He's convinced the lizard went in there. He's had a very exciting morning. He located a mouse for me in one of the cement blocks this morning. And then when it made a run for it, he crunched it. I made him give it back because I didn't want him to eat a mouse. But he's had a very exciting morning, so he's a little excited about anything that wiggles right now. Picking out rocks, in case you're wondering. We always joke about our beds growing rocks here. Some of it actually comes in with the compost, which is bizarre, but a grub. Smush. This is one of those mornings when I wish I had chickens, because I would have lots of yummy things for the chickens to eat. But the only person we know who has chickens lives like 8 miles from here, and I'm sorry, I'm not driving over to her house to drop off a pile of grubs. All right. There. Breaking up the clumps of dirt. I decided that I would cut back the pepper bed here because there's nothing growing in the end of it. The peppers that were at the end were eaten. So we might as well plant something else here. In case anyone has never seen this before, this is called planter's paper. It's basically used as a mulch. It helps to retain moisture. It's biodegradable, and it does just degrade over the course of the season. It doesn't always completely biodegrade here because we don't have enough moisture a lot of times. But it still does a great job of retaining moisture. And worst case, at the end of the season, I burn it in the burn barrel. So there we go. That's much better. Okay, now I need to go get some compost. Sometimes I feel like the walkways are half rocks that I've picked out of the beds. I could hear the irrigation running in the bed next door, and I was like, what is that noise? I just realized it was the irrigation. Okay. There we go. Now we have compost. And it doesn't say how deep to plant it. Okay. Well, what I'm going to do, you don't get a lot of seeds. You get like 40 seeds, and they're itty bitty teeny tiny beyond belief. These are so tiny. I see why they want you to transplant them. But we're going to make this happen, one way or the other. I have another pack of seeds by a different company. Seed Savers, I think it is. And I'm just going to give this a try. I mean, like I said, worst case, it doesn't work. But I think it's got a pretty decent chance of working. One of the things I like when I read about this was the fact that these are actually, even though they're in the tomato family, fairly hardy. In other words, a light frost does not usually kill them. And that would be cool if we could have something that would last into the fall a little bit. We have it sort of an odd fall here, and you never know what's going to happen until it's happened. We sometimes can sneak through without a hard frost until the end of October. We are technically 7B, but it depends on who you talk to. 7B, I don't know. There's a couple of different classifications for us here, but because of the altitude thing, it depends on exactly which way the various fronts come as to what we get. And the net result is that sometimes we can grow quite late. I have seen times when I was able to keep my tomatoes alive until November. Now, they weren't doing a lot of production at that point, but they were actually ripening, which is pretty cool. So these are itty bitty. These look like tomato seeds, only about a sixth of the size of a regular tomato seed. No, they're not even going to show on the camera. They're about a 1/16 of an inch in terms of their size. So they make the seeds that we get from cabbages and stuff look giant. All right, let's see. I think I saw one more left in the back here. Trying to get that last one out of the corner, you know. Yeah, no, there's two in there. 3. Of course, there's one more still in that corner. Ah. I can see it in there and it won't come out. Oh, that's historical. My husband would say, let it go. I want the last seed. Eat. Over there. You know that I'm determined when I'm willing to destroy the bag. Okay, man. To get the last seed out. Because I normally save these packets intact. Okay. Last seed is in here. There we go. Okay, well, we will have no clue as to how well this worked until this fall, but we're really hoping it works. They sound kind of cool. Sort of a husk on the outside, and then this little fruit inside. And these are supposed to be yellowy orange. And they says they will often drop from the plant when it's mature and can simply be picked up. And plants will survive light frost of 30 to 32 degrees. So, cool. Another experiment on the BrainStorm Acres homestead. Woo! Okay. Hope this inspires you to try something crazy. I just need to put the irrigation on this and we'll be ready to go. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that alert button so that you know when we put up another video, because we put up all kinds of crazy stuff all the time. 5 days a week usually. and sometimes we even go on trips and show you where we went. Bye for now. And the irrigation is done. This is older pipe, especially the black stuff, that does not have emitters as frequently. These only have emitters every foot. Something I try not to buy anymore, pretty much. But it's perfectly fine for this. I did a big coil in the middle, so it should just generally water the whole area. I will try it one time just to make sure it works fine, and then we'll be good to go. Bye.